Then a man was brought to Jesus who was demon-possessed and blind and dumb. Jesus healed him so that the dumb man could speak and see. All the crowds were amazed and asked, "This man couldn't really be the son of David, could he?" But when the Pharisees heard this, they replied, "This man can only throw out demons through the power of Beelzebub, the chief of demons." Knowing what they were thinking, Jesus told them, "Any kingdom that is divided against itself will be destroyed. No town or household that is divided against itself can stand. If Satan drives out Satan, then he's divided against himself. So how could his kingdom stand? If I'm throwing out demons in the name of Beelzebub, in whose name are your people throwing out demons? Your own people prove you're wrong. But if I'm throwing out demons through the power of the Spirit of God, then the kingdom of God has come to you. Can you enter a strong man's house and take his belongings unless you tie him up first? If you do that, then you can take everything in his house. Those who are not with me are against me, and those who do not gather together with me do the opposite. They are scattering. In Iconium, the same thing happened. Paul and Barnabas went to the Jewish synagogue and spoke so convincingly that many of both the Jewish and Greek-speaking worshippers trusted in Jesus. But the Jews that refused to believe in Jesus stirred up the feelings of the foreigners and poisoned them against the believers. Paul and Barnabas stayed there a long time, speaking to them boldly in the Lord, who confirmed their message of grace through the miraculous signs that they were enabled to perform. The inhabitants of the town were divided, with some supporting the Jews and some the apostles. But then the foreigners and the Jews, together with their leaders, decided to attack and stone Paul and Barnabas. However, they found out about it and fled to the region of Lycaonia, to the towns of Lystra and Derbe, where they continued to share the good news. In the town of Lystra, there was a disabled man who was lame in both feet. He had been crippled from birth and had never been able to walk. He sat there listening to Paul speaking. When Paul looked directly at him and realized that the man was trusting in God to heal him, Paul said in a loud voice, "Stand up on your feet." The man jumped to his feet and started walking. When the crowd saw what Paul had done, they shouted out in the language of Lycaonia, "The gods have come down to us looking like men." They identified Barnabas as the Greek god Zeus and Paul as the god Hermes because he was one who did most of the talking. The priest of the temple of Zeus that lay just outside the town brought oxen and wreaths to the town gates. He planned to carry out a sacrifice in front of the crowds. But when the apostles Barnabas and Paul learned what was happening, they tore their clothes and rushed into the crowds, shouting out, "People, what are you doing? We are human beings with the same kind of nature as you. We came to bring you good news, so you could turn from these pointless things to a God who is truly alive. He is the one who made heaven, earth, and sea, and everything in them. In past times, he allowed all the nations to follow their own ways. Even so, he still provided evidence of himself by doing good, sending you rain from heaven and crops in their seasons, providing all the food you need, and filling you with happiness." With these words, they barely managed to stop the crowds from offering sacrifices to them. A Psalm of David. Oppose my opponents, Lord, fight those who are fighting against me. Put your armor on and pick up your shield. Get ready, come and help me. Draw your spear and your javelin. Confront those who are chasing me. Tell me, I am your salvation. Shame them. Humiliate those who are trying to kill me. Turn them back. Disgrace those who are planning to hurt me. Let them be like chaff blown by the wind. Let the angel of the Lord drive them away. May their path be dark and slippery, with the angel of the Lord chasing them down. For no reason they set a net to catch me. For no reason they dug a pit to trap me. Let disaster come on them suddenly. Let the net they set catch them instead. Let the pit they dug trap them instead. Then I will be glad in the Lord. I will be happy in his salvation. Every part of me will say, "Who can compare to you, Lord? You rescue the weak from the strong, the poor and needy from robbers." If you correct a mocker, all you get are insults. If you argue with the wicked, all you get is abuse. So don't argue with mockers, or they'll only hate you. Argue with the wise, and they'll love you. Educate the wise, and they'll become even wiser. Teach those who live right, and they will increase their learning. Honoring the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Knowledge of the Holy One brings insight. Through wisdom, you'll have many more days, increasing the years of your life. If you are wise, you're the one to profit from it. If you scoff, you alone will have to suffer the consequences. The Lord told Moses, "Instruct the Israelites to bring me an offering. You are to receive my offering from everyone who willingly wants to give. These are the items you are to accept from them as contributions: gold, silver, and bronze, blue, purple, and crimson thread, finely spun linen and goat hair, ram skins that have been tanned, and fine leather, acacia wood, olive oil for the lamps, spices for the olive oil used in anointing and for the fragrant incense, and onyx stones and other gemstones to be used in making the ephod and breastpiece. They are to make me a sanctuary, so I can live among them. You must make the tabernacle and all its furnishings according to the design I'm going to show you. They are to make an ark of acacia wood that measures 2.5 cubits long by a cubit and a half wide by 1.5 cubits high. Cover it with pure gold on the inside and the outside, and make a gold trim to go around it. Cast 4 gold rings and attach them to its 4 feet, 2 on one side and 2 on the other. Make poles of acacia wood and cover them with gold. Place the poles into the rings on the sides of the ark, so it can be carried. The poles are to stay in the rings of the ark. Don't take them out. Place inside the ark the testimony, which I'm going to give you. You are to make an atonement cover of pure gold, 2.5 cubits long by a cubit and a half wide. Make 2 cherubim of hammered gold for the ends of the atonement cover, and put 1 cherub on each end. All of this is to be made from 1 piece of gold. The cherubim are to be designed with spread wings pointing upward, covering the atonement cover. The cherubim are to be placed facing each another, looking down towards the atonement cover. Place the atonement cover on top of the ark, and put the testimony that I'm going to give you inside the Arkansas. I will meet with you there as arranged above the atonement cover, between the 2 cherubim that stand over the ark of the testimony, and I will talk with you about all the commands I will give the Israelites. Then you're to make a table of acacia wood 2 cubits long by a cubit wide by a cubit and a half high. Cover it with pure gold and make a gold trim to go around it. Make a border around it the width of a hand and put a gold trim on the border. Make 4 gold rings for the table and attach them to the 4 corners of the table by the legs. The rings are to be close to the border to hold the poles used to carry the table. Make the poles of acacia wood for carrying the table and cover them with gold. Make plates and dishes for the table, as well as pitchers and bowls for pouring out drink offerings. Make all of them out of pure gold. Place the bread of the presence on the table, so it is always in my presence. Make a lampstand of pure, hammered gold. The whole of it is to be made of 1 piece, its base shaft, cups, buds, and flowers. It is to have 6 branches coming out of the sides of the lampstand, 3 on each side. Have 3 cups shaped like almond flowers on the first branch, each with buds and petals, 3 on the next branch. Each of 6 branches that come out will have 3 cups shaped like almond flowers, all complete with buds and petals. On a main shaft of a lampstand, make 4 cups shaped like almond flowers, complete with buds and petals. On the 6 branches that come out from the lampstand, place a bud under the first pair of branches, a bud under the second pair, and a bud under the third pair. The buds and branches are to be made with the lampstand as 1 piece, hammered out of pure gold. Make 7 lamps and place them on a lampstand so they can light up the area in front of it. The wick tongs and their trays are to be made of pure gold. The lampstand and all these utensils will require a talent of pure gold. Be sure to make everything according to the design you were shown on the mountain. Make 10 curtains for the tabernacle of finely spun linen, using blue, purple, and crimson threads. Have them embroidered with cherubim by someone who is skilled. Each curtain is to measure 28 cubits long by 4 cubits wide, and all the curtains are to be the same size. Join 5 of the curtains together, and then do the same to the other 5. Use blue material to make loops on the edge of the last curtain of both sets. Make 50 loops on one curtain and 50 loops on the last curtain of the second set, lining up the loops with each other. Then make 50 gold clips and join the curtains together with the clips, so that the tabernacle will be a single structure. Make 11 curtains of goat hair as a tent to cover the tabernacle. Each of the 11 curtains is to be the same size, 30 cubits long by 4 cubits wide. Join 5 of the curtains together as one set and the other 6 as another set. Then fold the 6th curtain in two at the front of the tent. Make 50 loops on the edge of the last curtain in the first set and 50 loops along the edge of the last curtain in the second set. Make 50 bronze clips and put them in the loops to join the tent together as a single cover. The extra half curtain of this tent covering will be left to hang over the back of the tabernacle. The tent curtains will be a cubit longer on every side, and the extra length will hang over the sides of the tabernacle, so it is all covered. Make a covering for the goat hair tent from tanned ram skins, and place an extra covering of fine leather over that. Make an upright framework of acacia wood for the tabernacle. Each frame is to be 10 cubits long by 1.5 cubits wide. Each frame will have 2 pegs, so the frames can be connected to each other. Make all the frames of the tabernacle like this. Make 20 frames for the south side of the tabernacle. Make 40 silver stands as supports for the 20 frames using 2 stands per frame, one under every frame peg. Similarly, for the north side of the tabernacle, make 20 frames and 40 silver stands, 2 stands per frame. Make 6 frames for the back, west side of the tabernacle, along with 2 frames for its 2 back corners. Join these corner frames at the bottom and at the top near to the first ring. This is how you are to make the 2 corner frames. In total, there will be 8 frames and 16 silver stands, 2 under each frame. Make 5 crossbars of acacia wood to hold together the frames on the south side of the tabernacle, 5 for those on the north, and 5 for those at the back of the tabernacle, to the west. The central crossbar, which is placed halfway up the frames, will run from one end to the other. Cover the frames with gold, and make gold rings to hold the crossbars in place. Cover the crossbars with gold too. Assemble the tabernacle following the design you were shown on the mountain. Make a veil out of blue, purple, and crimson thread and finely spun linen, embroidered with cherubim by someone who is skilled. Using gold hooks, hang it from 4 posts of acacia wood covered with gold, held up by 4 silver stands. Place the veil under the clips and take the Ark of the Testimony inside behind the veil. The veil will separate the holy place from the most holy place. Put the atonement cover on the Ark of the Testimony in the most holy place. Place the table outside the veil on the north side of the tabernacle and put the lampstand opposite it on the south side. Make a screen for the entrance to the tent using blue, purple, and crimson thread and finely spun linen. Have it embroidered. Make 5 posts of acacia wood with gold hooks to hang the screen and cast 5 bronze stands to hold them.